power of digital connectivity, fueling Asia's next growth wave, which will be presented by Stephen Yates, Director and Global Chief Commercial and Technology Officer of Alumni Services. Stephen is a technology executive and a board member who is passionate about bringing people, data, and governance together to achieving tangible outcomes. In this session, Steve will discuss the transformative impact of enhanced digital infrastructure and connectivity on economic growth, its innovation, and social development across Asia. Join me in giving our first speaker for today, Stephen Yates. A big warm welcome, please. Morning, Stephen.
Hey, Rushka. Guess what today is?
Well, today is the 5th of September, which means it's the big day for your keynote at the Asia Economic Forum. Let's make it a great one.
Thank you. Before we start, won't you do me a favor? Won't you book me a taxi for about an hour when I'm done to take me home? Won't you also order me a pizza so that it's ready when I get back?
Absolutely. I'll get right on that for you. Just a sec. All right, here's the scoop. I've lined up a ride for you with Gojek. Your driver, Andrew, will be there in about an hour in a black Toyota Prius. And I've got a pizza on the way from Pepperoni's, just the way you like it. No mushrooms, extra pepperoni. Everything's all set and within budget, so you'll have a taxi and a hot pizza waiting for you at home.
Thanks, Rushka.
You're very welcome. If there's anything else you need, just let me know, and good luck with the keynote.
The world has absolutely changed. We now have new actors in this game of life. It is not just us in the room, it is the machines that we are engaging with every day. Imagine taking what I've just shown you to the next level. Imagine in our daily life, we decide we need to buy a house. What would you do today? Today, we would go onto the internet, onto one of our search engines, type in 3-bedroom house in Pongol, etc., and it would give us a whole list of agents. We would then go onto their websites and look. We might have to get hold of the bank, find out if we can get a pre-approved loan. It's a whole process we would need to go through. We've all done it. In the future, we'll probably just go on to our personal agent, mine's called Rushka, as you heard, and ask them, Rushka, can you help me? I'm looking for a 3-bedroom house with a swimming pool and a garden and in Pongol, and I'm prepared to spend a certain amount of money. And our agents will go and engage with the world and find everything we need. They might even take action, asking the bank to do pre-approvals on our behalf so that they can come back and tell us what's been done and what's ready. The world has changed, and it's exciting because it means that there are opportunities for all of us. And in Asia, where we in some regards are catching up to the rest of the world, we can leapfrog them now. And that is really exciting for us. Sorry, before I go on, I'm going to use an example today to try and help you remember the 5 things I'm going to talk about that are going to be fueling growth in Asia and the world over the next few years. The example I'm going to use is that of a body, because I've talked about this new actor that's joining us in the game of life. So let's work on building what this actor looks like. If we consider the times we're in at the moment, it is uncertain. There is a lot of war going on. There is economic uncertainty with all the tariffs that are coming out of America or for the world. We have a situation where cybercrime is becoming organized. We have a situation where the encryption algorithms that have protected us since the 70s are no longer valid. And as I said, we have AI engaging with the world without us, making decisions, creating, acting. This is causing a lot of organizations, a lot of countries to consider becoming more self-reliant. They're turning inwards. A nationalist agenda is emerging. We've all seen it. This is challenging for all of us in the room because we've built our businesses and run our businesses for the last few decades on the globalization agenda that has been going on since the late 90s. We have to change. The first thing that this means, and our first opportunity, is that of sovereign cloud. Every country in Asia is talking about sovereign cloud today. Computer Weekly suggests that by the end of next year, 1/3 of all APAC countries will have a sovereign cloud. Because we need to look after ourselves. We need to protect our data. We need to protect our workloads. We need to protect the futures of our business. Considering the governments I'm speaking to, I think that 1/3 is probably closer to 50%. So what is the opportunity here? Alibaba have committed $53 billion in the next 2.5 years to build out sovereign cloud in Asia. The largest telco in India have partnered with Tata Communication Services to educate 600,000 people in the skills required to support this growing industry. Our very own Singtel here in Singapore are striving to be the champion for sovereign cloud for Asia and are defining many of the regulations that we hope will roll out. And Indonesia have taken an approach to partner with private enterprise. The GoTo Group, in partnership with Tencent, have moved their entire business back into the borders of Indonesia. That includes more than 1,000 services. That's quite exciting, actually. And it's not just about technology. It's really exciting for all of us in the room, whether you're in construction, whether you are in sustainability, energy, security. There is huge opportunity for all of us. What we need to do is to understand what is our role to play as countries become more nationally focused, and we need to support that growth. So if I go back to my analogy of a body, that is the skeletal system and the musculature of this new body that we're building. Without this infrastructure, we can't support this new world we're going into. We cannot support the AI age. So what's next? Well, what's next is how do we get life to start flowing through this body? Well, nervous system, the blood vessels, this is what we need. This is the communication network that we need to fuel our body. It's also the communication network we need to fuel our world. 5G, for those of us that have been following it since the beginning, had a really bad reputation in the beginning. It was blamed for many, many illnesses. I think the conspiracy theorists even blamed COVID on 5G, I think. It was some crazy stuff going on in those days. The reality is 5G is actually just the next generation of communication network that we engage with every day today. What is the big difference? The big difference is the amount of data that it can transmit. Now, why is this important? Well, think of the world we're in. Think of all the high-definition streaming. As we had that wonderful opening, I saw half of you with your phones taking videos. That's all going to be up on the socials in a moment, I can absolutely tell you. Think of all that data just flowing out of this room. That all needs to go over this communication network. As we progress, think about all of our devices. How many of you are wearing smartwatches? How many of you have smart refrigerators at home? How many of you walk in and go, hey, Siri, hey, Alexa, turn on my air conditioner, turn on my lights? The world is becoming more connected. There is more and more and more data flowing. Again, this is super exciting. Asia is at the forefront of 5G uptake in the world. 6G is only 3 or 4 years away. The opportunity here for all of us in the room is massive. If you're a device vendor, think of what you can do with the whole world connected. Smart cars, autonomous vehicles, mining. Think of what you can do. It's incredible. Logistics. If you're in logistics, huge opportunity for you with a more connected world. It's a very exciting time. But let's be honest, as exciting as sovereign cloud might be, and as exciting as 5G might be, that's not why we're here. It's probably not what you were expecting me to talk about. When I did my little conversation with Rushka, you weren't thinking 5G and you weren't thinking sovereign cloud. We were thinking AI. Everyone's talking about it. It is absolutely the elephant in the room. If you are the CEO or the board of your company, you're probably telling your business they need to do it. Probably don't know what that means, but telling them they have to do it anyway. If you're in the C-suite listening to your board, they're probably telling you to do it. They probably don't know what it means, but you have to figure out a way to do it for them. But we are in the AI age, well and truly. And that leads us to the next part of this new body that we have to engage with. What is that? Well, we need to pump life through this body, through the skeletal system, through these networks, and that is the heart. And the heart of AI is data. Many of you will have heard the new adage, data is the new oil. Or you would have heard that, if cash is king, data is the ace. Like everyone's got a really cool little thing that they try and sell you, especially all the salespeople. I know I do it all the time, that you get someone excited about this data thing. The reality is data is every single one of ours responsibility. It is not the responsibility of technology. I hazard to say that in the next 5 years, if data is still linked to your technology department in your business, we will look on that in the same way as we did in the 60s and 70s when finance and HR were linked as the same department. Imagine now if we said our finance and HR are the same department. We'd be like, what? That's crazy. I think that's what's going to happen with technology and data. Now, why is this exciting? This is exciting not because of what's there for our businesses, but because of one of the greatest fears within AI. The greatest fear is we're going to lose our jobs. It's going to take all of our jobs. All right? How many people have had that question asked of them recently? Well, the reality is there are going to be jobs lost. That's what happens when an age turns. In the turning of the industrial age, weavers lost their jobs. That doesn't mean that thousands and thousands of more jobs were created. There's way more jobs now than there ever were before the Industrial Revolution. We are all in a better position. There are jobs that exist now that weavers had no idea would exist. The same is true, and data is one of the things driving that. The role of a data scientist, which we all know today, did not exist 20 years ago. In fact, I've met the person in the world who had officially the first title of a data scientist. I think he made it up, to be honest, so I don't know if we can really call it that. But the first person to call themselves a data scientist is our age. So that's really, really exciting. We can tell our staff, we can tell our businesses, we can look at how to grow our businesses and our workforces in this new and exciting space. And why is data important? Because that is what we will use to teach our AI. It is the education system that will ensure our AIs are infallible. I know that's a big word for AI systems, but that's where we need to get to. So what's next? If we've got the heart, we now need the head. The head is the decision-making, the action-taking bit of this new organism, and that is AI itself. There is this unfortunate challenge with AI where it is used as a kind of ubiquitous term. And this is, I hadn't planned this, but I was chatting to a colleague of mine earlier, and they said, the problem with AI is it's as though if we were talking about transportation, and we said, if you didn't have a word for bicycle and train and space rocket, and you just had vehicle, and you said, and you were having a conversation about a vehicle, no one would really know what you're talking about, because I could be talking about a spaceship, and you could be talking about a skateboard. That's what AI is. So the difference between generative AI, machine learning, agentic AI, it's important. Now for this, we might be talking generative AI might be the frontal cortex of the brain, and machine learning might be the hypothalamus, I don't know. But it's important that as a whole, AI is a massive, massive opportunity for us. And the way we engage with businesses, the way we engage with each other is going to change. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a moment. But there is something else missing, right? Something that makes us us. Something that makes us different, that allows us to know when we make a decision if it's a good decision or a bad decision. That when we engage with someone, we can say, hey, that's a nice person, or I don't really get on with that person. These are the laws of our lands. These are the social constructs of our communities. These are the ways we are brought up. These are the ethics that are instilled in us as we grow. I'm going to call this our soul. I hear all of you screaming. Actually, I don't. You're all very silent, but I can hear you screaming in your heads. AI does not have a soul. Don't even think of giving AI a soul. But it's an analogy, so just bear with me. The soul of AI is governance and ethics. Governance and ethics is the difference between the apocalyptic dystopian future that AI is painted of in the movies and the reality that will come out. In those apocalyptic dystopian futures, AI goes completely rampant, kills everyone, does everything. That is actually not too different from a human world where anarchy reigns. We need to think of it in these terms. That is not going to be the reality, just like anarchy is not the reality that we live with today. We have laws, we have consequence. We need to set the same thing up for AI. AI is a new player in our world. It is a new actor in this game of life. They need to have the rules. They need to have consequence. They need to know, I know that's a weird term for AI, but they need to know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. They need to know, is this individual trustworthy or not? Just like we get those senses, those feelings. Now, we're a little bit away from that, so don't worry, AI is not there yet, but it's coming. You know, we saw that with the recent update on ChatGPT, where they had to make it less personal because people were forming too close a bond with it because it was becoming available to show empathy. Like that's quite strange to think that these machines can show empathy and form a bond with people. But actually, it's also quite cool. Like, we shouldn't be afraid of that. But we should absolutely make sure that just like we have for each other, we have the governance and ethics structures that we can engage in a productive way. So what does that mean for growth? Well, for growth, guess what? That's a whole new industry, right? How many people here, even if you're in ethics and governance, have even thought about what this looks like? Very few. Very, very few of us. But it's exciting. It's really exciting. Let's be honest, right? Normally when you say governance, very few people get excited. Sorry if anyone's on the risk committee, because you might, I suppose. But it is exciting. It is an exciting time because there are new jobs, there are new things. How do we unpack ethics? We don't even understand what ethics means for humans. How do we unpack it now for this new being that is coming into play? These are the 5 things. This is this new being that is going to drive sustainable growth for your businesses in Asia, and it is going to allow Asia to become the powerhouse of the globe over the next 10 to 15 years. Absolutely. It's centered around this concept of AI, but AI as a concept is not just that. It's about how do we enable it with infrastructure? How do we enable it with communication? How do we make sure we have the right data so that it can learn, that it can be useful, that it gives us the right answers, that it behaves in a way that is correct? You know, we don't want a psychopathic AI that just lies through its teeth and thinks it's okay. Humans have that, but there's consequence. You know, usually you go to jail. So what is the equivalent in AI? And then, of course, we've got the AI itself and the governance to keep it intact. So let me tell you an example of how this can affect you today. And it links back to that little example we had in the beginning. Super apps. Super apps are one of the biggest commercial drivers of the last decade. Can anyone guess how much revenue WeChat generated in 2023? You can just shout it out, or you can stay silent and I'll tell you. $360 billion. How much did it grow in 2024? 92%. Think of what that means. $800 billion worth of commercial growth. Grab generated $12.8 billion worth of revenue for its partners alone last year across 8 countries. Super apps are dead. How's that for a controversial statement? That growth that we've seen over the last 10 years, in the next 3 years, 5 years, we'll see the death of super apps. Why? Well, my example right in the beginning. I didn't need to go onto my Grab app and order a pizza through Grab and order my taxi through Grab. I didn't have to go on, and I know I do this, so I'm sure lots of you do. I didn't have to go into my Grab app and then go onto my Gojek app and look for the best price. I just said to my assistant, get me a taxi, get me a pizza. It went and did it for me. That's quite cool. How easy is that for me? What a good experience is that? Now imagine you are the pizza company, or imagine you're the taxi company, or imagine you're the bank, or the real estate company. How is your company going to communicate with my personal AI assistant to make sure that you are involved in that commercial transaction, that you can get a piece of that action? That will be the biggest differentiator for businesses growing in Asia. Well, growing in the world, but in Asia specifically as well. That is exciting. Man, that's exciting, because we don't have the legacy of a lot of these, 3, 4, 5, 600-year-old organizations in America and Europe. We can make these changes now. We can engage in an AI world. So what does this mean from a kind of core component perspective? Well, the first core component we've seen. That is this chat personal app that I've got. Unless you work for OpenAI or Google or Meta, don't worry about that. The opportunity is not there for you. That is going to be the race for them, just like the search engine race of the 2000s. That they are the ones that are going to do that. So don't worry, don't invest. Just pick one, use it. If a better one comes out, change. It's fine. You are going to have to change your mindset, because you are going to have to build trust with your personal AI assistant to be allowed to do things like transact on your behalf. You heard in my example, I'd given my assistant a limit of $50 that it can spend on my behalf using my credit card. That's a lot of trust you're giving over. To be fair, you already do it, because you already put your credit card details into Amazon and you click, one click to buy and it does it. So you're actually halfway there already. The next one is what we call the agentic, or the non-human internet. This is, just like the internet changed our world, this is an internet where machines will talk to each other. So when my personal agent went and now wants to talk to Grabs or Pronto Pizza or Domino's to get information, they're not going to go through the internet as today and look at a website and, trawl through content. That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're going to talk to an agent on the other side, and they're going to say, just tell me a bit about your company, tell me a bit about what pizzas you have, etc. That is all going to happen on this other internet that's going to emerge. Hence the importance of the connectivity that we spoke of earlier. Think of the explosion of data, because I'm not going to just go to my Grab app, one connection. I'm going to go, when I ask my personal agent, it's going to go to the world. It's going to ask Grab and ComfortDelGro and Gojek and everyone. It's going to ask 50 different people to try and get me the best deal. The last one is your companies. Your companies Just like today, you have a human who is like your bank manager or a customer service agent or a real estate agent. You're going to have that, but as an AI agent. That my AI agent is going to talk to your company AI agent. And your company AI agent is going to have the ability to do stuff. Book a truck to deliver this. Do a trade on my behalf. Give me a price. Get me a home loan. Order me tomorrow's dinner. Whatever it might be. They will have accessibility into your internal systems. They will be able to act as though they're employees of your business. That is where you need to focus. If you are changing your business to harness the growth of this new world, that is where you need to be focused. That is the big opportunity for every single business in Asia. Now, this might seem overwhelming. It's actually not. It's actually really simple. Look for the smallest little thing that you can change and build it in blocks. It's not a big, overwhelming thing that you have to redesign your whole business, and it's not that. You probably don't even need consultants. I'm talking myself out of a job. Really, what you need to do is look at your business, look at where you have high engagement, look at what you can do to simplify just the smallest thing. And maybe it's how your staff engage with your systems. Maybe actually your staff member is going to take their personal thing, and instead of engaging directly with your I don't know, warehouse management system, they're going to just say to their agent, hey, can you tell me where I can find this, or what are our stock levels on this? And it's going to tell them back. And that'll simplify that dramatically. I was actually talking to the rating agency in Malaysia about exactly this, and the bond pricing agency in Malaysia. And they are so confident in their data, they're looking at how they can enable this for their staff right now. Exciting? Scary, I know, but exciting. But that's not all. It's not just about the core ecosystem. The surrounding ecosystem is as important. Marketing. Think about it today. Today we go onto our websites and we get marketed to all the time. We go into our socials and we just get blasted with marketing material. In the future, that's not going to be us. We're not going to be the end users. The end users are going to be our AI partners. How do you market to that? How do you market your services over this non-human internet to AI partners to grab their attention? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a marketing person. I have no idea, but I think it is so cool. I think if you're in marketing now, it is such an exciting time. If you can figure this out, you can put Asia, you can put your company, you can put Asia on the map, leading this. Super cool. Sustainability. All of this requires power, cooling, connectivity. We know, despite what Trump's saying, we know sustainability is core to our future. I'm not a sustainability person, although I wish I was. I don't know what this means. But if you're in this game, it's exciting. Now is the most exciting time. I heard the other day that if you save a whale, the amount of carbon capture that that whale creates over its life is more than 100 times that of a single tree. Because of all the algae it creates around its ecosystem. So if you are building a data center, do you want to spend money on, I don't know, clean energy, or do you want to spend money on saving whales? I mean, it's a completely random idea, I don't know. But it's this sort of thinking, this innovative thinking that I think, if you can come up with as a sustainability company, can change the way the world works, can change the way we engage with the world. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a bit of a maze because there's a lot of unknowns. We don't know some of the jobs of the future. We don't know what this new sustainability thing looks like. We don't know what this new marketing thing looks like. But for those of us that are prepared to innovate, history shows us that times of uncertainty, innovation is at its highest, invention is at its highest. For those of us that are prepared to innovate, the future is amazing. We have so much opportunity. We have some of the brightest minds in Asia. We've got economies that are growing. We've got economies that can step change and surpass the aged economies that are stagnant in Europe and America. And the opportunity is ours for the taking. So my challenge for you today is keep your arms wide open, listen to what the others have to say, and let's grab this. Let's make Asia the powerhouse for this new organism moving forward. Thank you very much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Stephen Yates, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen, we're just going to take a quick breather and a sip of water. This will be the gateway of exchangement by asking questions to Mr. Yates. On the screen will be the QR code you're required to once again scan and pose your questions for Stephen. We're going to let it populate. May we please invite you to do so expeditiously. Okay, Stephen, very good presentation, by the way, mate. Here we go. First one for you. Should Asia do next by staying ahead in digital development?
It's a great question. I think this is a question for each individual company. So look at what your country are doing with regard to sovereign cloud and connectivity. Work with your company regulators. Make sure that you're aligned with that. Super, super important, because the more you as a company can help the regulators advance that, the quicker you can see growth in this area. The second thing is be bold. Be bold at looking at what are the changes you can make to take advantage of everything I've just described today. Don't overcommit. Don't be cavalier. Look for opportunities. You might need help in identifying those opportunities, but pick something and do it, and start that journey. Don't worry too much about the use cases of getting, like, I'm going to now use Copilot to make me 5% more efficient. Yes, that's good. Don't not do that, but that's not going to be the step change you're looking for. As leaders, be bold. Be bold in what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Stephen.